Assalamu alaikum everybody. It's time for me to make my video about the Naplex. Today is a good day to do it, so I'm gonna make this video quick and try to explain as much as I can quickly about everything that I have been through with this exam, what it is that I can help you so you can pass the Naplex. Let's go. Okay, so to begin with, I think that the NAPLEX is one of the most wholesome examinations that you ever come across in your life. I don't think that there is any other exam in this world that is so widespread when it comes to the contents. The chapters are extremely extensive and they comprehensively display a lot of information for you. So once you're done with a specific chapter, you'll find yourself informed and your knowledge will increase and get more in depth. No matter how smart you are or how much you think you know, you'll probably find things that you did not know previously. So the exam is extremely, I'm talking about the material now. The material is going to be spread all over, from biostatistics calculations to compounding and hazardous compounding, immunizations, stuff that talks about all kind of conditions. Like we're talking therapeutics here, I'm talking gastrointestinal conditions, oncology, psychiatry, endocrinology, pulmonary, um, hormone replacement therapy, and male and female health. The chapter is called special population. We're talking about geriatrics, pediatrics. We're going to be talking about cardiovasculars for sure. Um, Even stuff that talks about travelers and immunizations that are needed for a person to travel outside of the U.S. and the way they're scheduled. And of course, there will be a big topic about the regulations and I would say that the foundations of how to make the health system more efficient, health economics, and a lot of things about how to practice pharmacy. And just this exam is so widespread. So good luck. Now, the exam itself is scaled differently between different topics. So that doesn't mean that it's going to weigh your answers in the same way. And also, so that means one question would be marked or scored differently than another question. Some of them would have 1 or 2 points, some of them will probably have 1 point. So you wouldn't know the difference. You wouldn't know which one is more important than the other. Also, you will have more questions on specific topics while you will have less questions on other topics. You would not know which topic will have more questions and which topic will have less questions. So you have to study everything. You cannot um, sacrifice whatever thing you think is going to have less questions for any other topic. And the reason why you cannot skip any topic, even if you think that this topic is not going to have as much questions as the other topics, it's because of this adaptive technology of questioning that the exam has, which means that if you fail a question on a specific topic, then the computer will ask you more questions on this topic. So let's say you skimmed one of the chapters because you thought, oh, I don't think I'm going to have a lot of questions about, let's say, liver conditions or renal conditions or whatever thing that you thought, oh, I'm going to take this time to, let's say, put it towards learning more about anti-infectives, let's say, or some of the most common endocrine conditions like thyroid, hyperthyroidism, or whatever. And then you happen to have a question that talks about renal conditions or liver conditions, and you didn't answer that question correctly, then the computer is going to be asking you repetitively about this one topic that you did not get to answer correctly. So that makes that specific topic bigger in weight in your exam and suddenly becomes as important as the other topic that you have given more time to. So this specific advice here is that you should never take anything as something that you can skip or study less for. You have to give everything equal. Like you have to study all the topics in a very attentive manner, and you should respect all of them. Give them the same respect. Study them all thoroughly and skip nothing. Study everything. Now, talking about the source, I used RxPrep. I don't think anything will come close. I think that RX Prep is so good in the prepare is in helping a student preparing for the Naplex that it just seems to be hard to compete. I have bought multiple resources. I bought, I mean, I can show you, but I bought the APHA, I bought Kaplan, and I bought a lot of questions online, and it's done for me. It's RX Prep. Just save yourself the time for the lookout or having to duplicate your study time using different resources that are probably going to explain topics from different point of views, so or a different perspective. It talks about the same things, but it uses different language, so you exhaust your mind trying to learn the same thing in two different ways. Instead, focus on RX Prep, use RX Prep, read RX Prep with the time that you have. RX Prep is more than enough. Now, also one more thing about RX Prep. RX Prep comes with questions, online questions that you can buy the question bank online, and I have not seen anything close to it in how accurate and close it is to the way the exam is actually written in the real life. So when you have RX Prep question bank, you go through the questions, you finish all the questions at least 3 times, 3 to 4 times, so you get familiar with the way the questions are and the timing. So RxPrep, of course, gives you the option to either have the questions answered with a some form of a clock, and in which you don't see the answers explanations right away, which gives you kind of a taste of how the actual exam is going to be, or you can have it all explained to you and you can have it with no timer. Now, I would say you might start with the one with no timer and no explanation so you can get a real estimate of how good you are in this topic. Then after that, you're going to go and relearn, right? Try fix those problems. And then when you do this, you can go and you just have the answers explained for you or have the timer taken off. But initially, I would suggest that you go the tough route, which is having the timer and all of that. Our prep questions have to be solved at least 3 to 4 times. Um, I honestly have to say that me personally, I think that my score in our prep exams. Now remember that when you take the RX exam, it's not an open book exam. You have to answer the questions, and you have to also make sure that you're answering the questions because you know the answer, not because you're just guessing. So I'm answering the questions of RX Prep because I know the answer and I can exclude all the wrong answers because I know why these are wrong and why this one is right. Also, I'm not guessing and I'm not having an open book. I don't have any resources that I'm looking at. So I am living the atmosphere of a real exam. Don't cheat yourself because otherwise you're going to waste your time, waste your money, fail. Then waste your emotions too. You're going to come back feeling like you failed something so huge. So um, take the RX prep exams like they're actual exams, and don't take any open books or any notes around you. Don't look away. Don't pause the exam. Just take it. Put yourself, live the exam as many times as you can before you actually take it. It's extremely important that you become familiar with the pressure. One very important note is calculus. Now, I don't really know how to amplify and focus on this point enough. If you do not perfect master the calculations portion of the exam, you will fail the Naplex, 100%. They're going to ask me why. Why is it they're going to fail? Because there's every 7 questions, there is a calculations question planted in between the first 7 and the next 7. So if you were to fail this one or get agitated when you see it or take time solving the question, you will fail the exam. It's like a checkpoint every 7 questions. You have to be fast. You have to know what it is. You do not have to actually think about it. You should have seen that kind of question before. You're just gonna look at it and right away know what the answer is. So I would say that at least you have to start solving questions from the maths chapter, and we're talking calculations and biostatistics set, but mainly calculations, by the way, at least for 2 months before the date of the exam. 2 months, every day, like an hour a day for 60 days. Let's say you don't study every day, so let's say an hour a day for about 24 days per month, 22 days, that'll be enough. That's what I did, and it was more than enough. The strategy of that is you honestly have to do it once every day for the last 2 months, and that will get you so familiar with the questions because they come the same. By the way, the calculations themselves are not hard at all. They're easy for those who have done calculations in the past. Because if you have not been doing calculations for the last, let's say, 30 or 60 days before the exam, and then you just get kind of shocked when you have to solve this many questions that needs calculations in the exam while you're focused on just answering questions that are asking you about cases. So don't do this mistake. Master calculations before you go to the Naplex. Two important things that I'm going to finish this video with. First of all, your strategy of studying and learning in this exam has to be the logic of exclusion. You need to learn the cause and effect. You need to know why the right answer is right. Why? You need to know why. So if I were to ask you, why is this the correct question answer in your opinion, you have to be able to completely have an idea that you can brief and explain to a person, let's say a professor next to you, that this is the reason why this answer is the correct one. And also, and this is extremely important, you have to know why the wrong ones are wrong. You can ask me why. I'll tell you because in the exam, the wrong answers are not completely wrong. They're partially wrong. So they could be right. So unless you know the topic in depth and you know what makes an answer wrong, and the one answer that is right, what makes it 100% right, you probably would have a big problem with an Naplex. Naplex is not black or white in the answers. It's not. It's going to be black, kind of gray, kind of white. You have to go through the fades and the shades of the answer. So unless you're really mastering the topics, knowing all your knowing all the ins and all the outs, understand the whole topic in the basis of logic, cause and effect, when and why this option, not that option, is correct. And you have to know all the pharmacology, drug facts, mnemonics. You have to learn mnemonics, especially those that are included in the RX Prep book under guy and girl key drugs chat, like those little things in the pages, then you probably wouldn't have a problem. Half the exam, if not more, is talking about chronic conditions. Chronic conditions. So focus on endocrine conditions and cardiovascular conditions, anticoagulation. Focus on these. These will be everywhere. Yes, there will be anti-infectives. Yes, there will be a lot of things about a lot of like allergy, special population, eye, ears, and nose. There'll be a lot of chronic conditions, a lot of cardiovascular, as we said, David's mellitus, hyperlipidemia, anti stuff that has to do with the immune system, HIV, cancer. A lot of questions about these. So focus on the topics that talks about chronic conditions, especially those that are popular among the American population. And that's about it. It's not an easy exam, but it's not the hardest exam ever. This exam needs a lot of preparation. If you were to go through RX Prep, I would say at least go through it like 3 times. 3 times would take you about 8 months to 9 months of studying. And that's a 5 days a week in which you study about 8 hours a day. You will need that amount of time to pass 100%. Now, if you want to take your chances, study for 2-3 months and go take the exam and see if it works, it could work. A lot of people does it. You're not going to be the first one, but that doesn't mean that you actually know what's going to happen. And that doesn't mean that after you get to pass the exam that you're ready to practice. You still have one more exam if you didn't take the MPGE, and that's going to need some studying too. So Naplex is going to get you used to studying. Nevertheless, if you want to succeed the Naplex, one of the hardest exams you will ever come across, no matter how good you are in your school, no matter how good you were in any other phase of your life, in any other exam, any other obstacle. I was an honor roll student in my college, and I passed so many exams. And I went through college, then university, so I know how it is to go through exams that are like 4 or 5 hours in the bridge when I needed to bridge, and all these things I had to go through TOEFL, FPGEE. So those are like 4 and 5 hours exam, and I'm telling you, nothing comes even close to the Naplex. So study for the Naplex like you mean it. Give it your best, and you will pass. Give it less than your best, and not guaranteed. Anyway, I hope this video helps. Good luck, guys. Thank you.